say that what in what you said there, the word pursuing gets a lot of mileage because I'm pursuing being the proper bassist. I'm
Mm.
pursuing playing less notes for sure. I can be note heavy. I can play busy. You're always working to get better at that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I do like my moments, but I get more satisfaction after like nailing a sick thump and pluck groove.
Welcome to episode 146 of the Bass Shed Podcast. My name is Ryan Roberts. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bass Shed Podcast. My name is Ryan Roberts. It's the podcast where we talk to primarily bass players about career, culture, and artistry. Not in any specific order. If this is your first time checking out the show, please make sure to hit subscribe wherever you are listening to it. And if you are watching it on YouTube, please make sure to give us a thumbs up and hit the little bell to get notified about new bass content. On this episode is bassist for the band The Hip Snacks, Mr. Ben Suarez. Ben Suarez is going to talk about his upbringing on the East Coast and how his time as a rapper influenced his musical journey as a bassist. It's a really, really cool conversation. Before we hop into the conversation with Ben, there's a few things I want to tell you about. lemurmusic.com. Everything you need for the double bass can be found at lemurmusic.com. Bows, basses, strings, accessories, sheet music, you name it. Everything for the double bass, lemurmusic.com. Use the promo code THEBASSSHED, all one word, for 10% off. Bass players, if you love learning from transcriptions as much as I do, check out Jerry Jamont, 15 Timeless Bass Lines. This is a book that means a lot to me personally. I got to work with Mr. Jamont on putting the book together. He picked all the songs that are transcribed in them. He thought this was a great representation of his amazing career. Not only are there iconic tracks he played on with Aretha Franklin and B.B. King, but there are also some original tunes of his, and Jerry taking solos on his original tunes. It's all in there. Jerry Jamont, 15 Timeless Bass Lines. You can find that at thebassshedacademy.org. I will have a link in the show notes below. All right, if you're interested in more bass content from The Bass Shed, stop by thebasshed.com. Got some podcast extras there. There's a little segment that exists primarily on the website. There's some lessons, there's some listening room things, there's all kinds of stuff to promote bass education and promote bass culture. So stop by thebasshed.com and check that out. The conversation with Ben starts with us talking about his personal journey as a bassist and how he became into being a bassist when he was previously a rapper. So we'll talk about that transition and how the band The Hip Snacks came to be. Obviously, we're going to talk about the band name, right? I'm always curious about how bands get their names, so we're definitely going to talk about the band name. We're going to talk about the recording process. We're going to talk about gear. We're going to talk about all the things bass players love to talk about, right? Signal chain, Victor Wooten. Right. We cover a lot of ground, and it was great having Ben on the podcast. And here it is. Here's my conversation with Ben Suarez, bassist of The Hip Snacks. Ben, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And you're currently in Denver, correct?
Currently in Denver. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And originally you're from where?
Bethesda, Maryland, right outside DC.
Okay. That's where you were born?
Yeah, born and raised there. Same actually with Kara, our singer. We went to the same high school, believe it or not, but didn't actually know each other back then. So,
Okay.
yeah.
The same
Yeah.
year? Or were you like multiple
2 years
years apart?
apart,
2 years apart, okay.
a couple years apart. I grew up with her older brother. We're still friends to this day. And then she and I started dating about 5 years after high school. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I feel like it's common to not know people 2 years apart in high school. Like you might know
It,
someone the year up or down, but 2 years, that's a huge gap in high school. Like seniors aren't messing with sophomores, like that's whatever the gap is, like you just don't do it. What was the scene like? What was the scene like in Bethesda? What was the music scene? What were you
it
exposed to early on?
It was really cool. So I grew up listening to hip hop primarily, like all throughout high school, middle school, high school, very big hip hop fan, almost exclusively. I started out like early years classic rock a little bit. My dad grew up in Gainesville, Florida, so he actually went to high school with some of the Heartbreakers, Tom Petty's band.
Oh, sweet.
And back when they were going by Mudcrutch and Steven Stills was there at the time, there's like this crazy scene in Gainesville. So I was raised on a little bit of cool classic rock. I listened to a lot of hip hop. And then our scene in Bethesda was this really cool, awesome scene where like a lot of like parents were deadheads that kind of went, more legitimate as they got older. And so they
Yeah.
all kind of congregated there. And around 17 is when I started going to music festivals, 18, but all my friends that I grew up with were going to them already. There's a festival called All Good that's made its comeback now, called All Good Now, but that's where most of us got our start. And so, yeah, there's this big Dispatch was huge, Grateful Dead was huge. We all got into just like various bands. All our friends had bands growing up. I was rapping at the time. I wasn't actually playing an instrument back then.
Right.
So just, yeah, man, it was a good scene. It was a cool spot. We would play house parties. We'd play small little venues, a lot of places that are no longer there, a lot of places changed ownership, stuff like that. But it was a good scene.
What era of hip hop was this that you were checking out?
So I was high school like 2000s, early 2000s, 2003 to 7.
Okay.
But so listening to mid 90s a lot and stuff
Yeah,
like
okay.
that all the way through the 2000s. Yeah.
All right.
Participating in the 2000s era hip
Were
hop.
you doing like rap battles and stuff? Because you were freestyling
A
back then.
little bit. Yeah, we were freestyling a
Yeah.
lot. Like it was I couldn't play an instrument that well. I played a little guitar as a kid, but I kind of gave it up. And from 14 to 24, but definitely all through high school, we would freestyle. And whoever had the open house, we'd be over there 3, 4 hours a day, just like
Really?
freestyling. We do it in parking lots, people's cars. We would just, you name it, we would do it a lot. And then we'd freestyle at shows. We didn't battle too much. I've been in a few, but honestly, that's like its own realm, and you
Yeah,
better
it's
be
like its own
ready for like,
culture, right? Like I'm not
yeah.
I'm not a hip hop battle guy, but from what I understand of it, it's yeah, it's like its own culture, and I'm fascinated by it because it's the direct correlation from that culture to like the old jazz jam sessions and like when tenor players were trying to cut each other at sessions and stuff like that. So I like that transition of the same things.
For sure.
That being your kind of foundation, what were some things that you picked up in freestyling that translated into when you started playing the bass? Like rhythm, time, creativity, spontaneity, improvisation.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, like I think I took to the bass pretty quick when I got started with it, and I'm very lucky that just like my friend group needed a bassist, and so I almost always was getting to do it.
Okay.
And hip hop translated a lot with rhythm and just like naturally having a good time feel. I mean, I needed all the lessons I've taken. I've definitely needed to be taught a lot of what I've learned on instruments. But there was some groove and feel there from freestyling a lot and just kind of knowing where like pickups were, like beats 3 and 4 going into a new measure, and just knowing that you can exploit that with the bass line is very useful.
Sure.
Um, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we had a really big jam scene, so like it wasn't no one was too successful. We had a couple friends that were making music. We actually grew up with the earlier this jam band called Pigeons Playing Ping Pong. If you've heard of them, um,
No.
they, they're pretty awesome. They've had a really awesome career, and so we grew up like early years like freestyling with them. My friend had a band, um, but so when I started playing, there was just like a strong pull towards learning how to improvise quickly.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to be able to play with the friend group, we were jamming over Grateful Dead tunes, Lotus, Allman Brothers, Sound Tribe, you name it. Widespread Panic was big in there. A little bit of jazz, not enough. I could always be better at jazz.
Yeah, that's an ongoing
But
thing, right?
yeah,
The,
in those early years, man. Yeah, just like a lot of like the groove bands. Soul Live was always a big inspiration
okay.
to us. So
Okay. Yeah, I remember
yeah.
them. So you're talking about playing with your peer group. What was it that finally kind of got you to have a bass in your hands? What was you mentioned the peer group needing a bass player, but then what was the catapult into being like, all right, well, let me go get one and let me be this guy.
for sure. I mean, yeah, I remember just being at enough jam sessions where like the mic wasn't working or it wasn't the right vibe to have freestyling or it was just kind of like on the sidelines that I wanted to pick up an instrument, and there was definitely a void. And I tried guitar for a couple years as a little kid, didn't have discipline with it, and um, honestly, at the same time, I picked both back up, and bass, I just took too fat. I took to that faster. It just felt more natural. I started taking classes and lessons at the same time. So I was taking community college classes on basic theory, taking private lessons in my hometown of Bethesda. And the thing that made me want to pick it up, I guess, was just like, honestly, it was like that gap in the friend group, knowing I always wanted to play music, but just never kind of getting around to it. I spent a lot of years thinking it was too late, and then just realizing at 20 that it's like you're pretty young. Oteil Burbridge started at 20. I started hearing stories of bassists starting at 20, and I
Hmm.
was like, all right, I'm going to give this a real shot. So I went out and bought a 5-string Samick and Ampeg 300-watt amp like that day, and was just like, I'm
Okay.
going to get good enough. And told the guy, I was like, I'll take lessons from you if you'll have me, and like I'll be pretty dedicated. Let's do this.
And was that just a teacher at the local music store? That
Yeah, this
first.
guy Jim. Yeah,
Okay.
that just my initial inspiration. Yeah, that guy's Jim Conklin, man. He's the man.
And what kind of things were you going through? Like, so you were this is while you're taking the theory classes, right? So you're starting to understand theory, and now you're learning the instrument, and you're putting those things together. Of like, here are the scales. Here's how you build chords. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had a kind of like a roundabout way of lessons. Jim was great. Jim was always trying to get me to study fundamentals early, and I definitely could have improved what I was absorbing. But he
Okay.
had me learning scales early. And applying that to some of the theory. I definitely kind of just like coasted through the first couple years of practicing before later meeting Anthony Wellington.
Hmm.
And I met him at a show in DC one time, and I had just seen him do an interview on Scott's bass lessons on the internet, and was a member of that website a little bit. Ran into him like soon, like a week after seeing him on the podcast, and asked him for lessons, and he brought me out, and I remember I could do like the minor pentatonic position 6. And that was like about my extent of understanding pentatonics. And he was like,
Okay.
you don't understand. And he was like, all right, we're going to start at the very beginning and start all over. And
But
yeah, I studied with him for the last 10 years, and
oh
he's been
wow.
a great asset.
Did you
Everything
get
I've studied.
into a
Yeah.
lot of his right hand advanced techniques with the double thumb and all the Wootenisms? And because he got
Oh
his come
yeah.
up through the Wooten camp, and I remember I think I saw Anthony play a long time ago when Wooten was doing his Live in America tour, long time ago, and it was him and Divinity Rocks were the like guest artists, and they're I mean I don't want to say clones of Wooten because Wooten is such a individual, but they definitely had absorbed a lot of the Wootenisms. So if you got all into that with the slapping and the tapping and the two hand attacking.
I can definitely say that I attempted all a lot.
That's fair.
Yeah, I love doing thumb and pluck stuff. That's really what got me into it. I don't know if you have you ever seen that like 1983 Buddy Hankerson solo video? It's just like him in
No.
some studio wearing high socks and thump and pluck, just ripping. I
Okay.
saw that once on YouTube. It's like a grainy VHS quality video, and I saw that. I
Yeah.
was like, I have to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Spent this was far enough back that videos were available. I wasn't really absorbing them well. Met Anthony, and then yes, I was like, "Hey, man, have you seen this Buddy Hankerson video? I want to learn how to do that." And then
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, you're talking about this, and you're talking about that, and here's the history of it." And yeah, man, we've gotten pretty deep into a lot of patterns, is up through like double thumbing. I could definitely improve my tapping.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, whatever. Unless you do that thing, there's not a lot of call for it. I don't think.
Mhm.
Primarily
Right,
in like a
right. True.
band situation. What were some things you learned from Anthony that you still kind of hold on to that you're still investigating that, or have always lingered in the back of your mind that were kind of a guiding light throughout
Um,
your whole trajectory?
he has an expression that I try to think about every single day. That is, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing, which is like
All right.
Which is
Yeah.
like he has it like on a wall somewhere at one of his houses, and it's or at his house, and it's just like don't lose sight of what you're trying to do this for, which is you wanted to play music, you wanted to be able to hang out with the friend group, interact in most settings, and just be like, oh, they it used to look like they were casting spells. Like people would jam, and I'd be like, how can they do that without talking to each other first?
Mhm.
And so I always wanted to be able to do that. Um, so that expression really sticks at a core value, and then a more practical musical lesson is probably just that like he opened my eyes early that you should be as skilled at every single subdivision of the measure as any other part of it. So you should be able
100%.
to come in on the end of three, the of three, just as well as you can come in anywhere else. And
Mm.
the work that he gives you for that is so logical and just so like built on the last thing you learned. Um, yeah, I mean, he really gave me like a deep love of like all that practicing of like the stuff that maybe some other people find boring. I find
Right.
very interesting. It let me catch up on a lot of
Yeah.
skill sets. So
That being Anthony's mantra, what was it again? Keep the main thing, the main thing. There was three of
yeah,
them,
the
right?
main thing is to keep the main thing. Yeah, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now, for you with starting later, I mean, I wouldn't say 20s that late, but you weren't taking lessons at 7 or 8 or came up from a musical family or anything. Um, and then transitioning, you know, almost all the way across the country to continue pursuing what you have now. What has been the main thing that's kept you driving, or that's been the fuel for you keeping the main thing?
Um, I agree with you that it doesn't feel late anymore, but I do
It
think that
doesn't
that
feel
lights the
late after you're not 20. Like when you're not
right.
20, then it's just like whatever.
It feels
But when you're 20, it feels like my life is over. I should be having a midlife crisis at 23.
right,
It's like what?
right, or
Your life
know
is
what you
just
want, which is
starting as an adult. You're just getting out there. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think the fire comes from or like just like wanting to do it. It's just that like I was in a band before I came out here called Ben Coolin that my friends from GW University started, and I joined late as a the replacement bass player. A lot of fun in that project, and we had a lot of success. And then it all ended like a month before the pandemic started,
Okay.
and I was like, I think we were having like we were trending in the way I wanted to go. And I thought like, oh, if we didn't stop now, maybe we could have kept going. So I never got fulfilled on finding out what could happen if I gave it my
Mm-hmm.
all. We decided to move here to give it our all after visiting for 10 days in July of 21 or August of 21. And like on a Tuesday night, you've got half the members of the motet are playing at this bar gig with the owner of the bar at Vale and three of the other musicians I end up becoming friends with since moving here. Like just the scene is just everything. So I think the fire that you asked about comes from, I mean, I don't have a full answer for it. We put out a song. It did better than I thought it would, and everything since then has been kind of building on like, well, let's see what else we can do. Because
Mm-hmm.
like we played like one gig with this group, and everyone was kind of like, yeah, let's get together, let's play a gig, and it went really well, and everyone kind of felt like there was magic there, and we filmed it, and I just knew like, all right, if we're doing it from day one, we're going to do everything. The film it back when it mattered to have HD footage, like film it, put it out
Right, right.
grow fast, all this stuff. Like, I guess feeling father time is where the fire comes from, but I don't feel like old.
Okay.
I just feel like, yeah, I just feel like
Has that been a
I've been at
constant
this
motivator?
20 years.
Is that
Father
like,
time.
yeah, you always feel like the clock's ticking, and so you're trying to cram it in or play catch up?
I do feel like the clock's ticking, in a sense. Like again, I don't feel like old anymore about it. I
Right.
feel like, oh, there's you have a lot of experience on it. But I had this weird illness in 2018 where I ended up in the hospital. It's called C. difficile. It's like an infection, and you get it from being exposed to some type of virus. And it just it was I didn't go anywhere like too crazy into illness, but it was not cool and it was bad for a while. And you could see the look in the doctor's eyes for a few weeks. And
Sure.
I ever since then I've always been like each day matters.
That's
So for
Yeah,
sure.
that is true, and I think that that's a great thing to hold on to. And that was 2018.
2018, but
So
that
that was
really,
right
yeah, that's
before all the pandemic with everything that happened in the world and about viruses and about, you can't,
oh yeah.
yeah, you can't even get out of bed without thinking you might contract something. Uh, what was that period like for you then? That must have had a specific significance or specific, it meant something on a
COVID was
more
freaky.
personal level.
Yeah, the beginning of COVID was very freaky. Because like the band that was doing well, Ben Coolin, decided to call it quits New Year's Eve 2019.
Okay.
Three of us decided to keep going with a new project. Like a couple weeks later, we're like, let's start a new project.
Hmm.
We get some members, rehearse up, and have our first show March 8th, 2020.
Ah,
So a week before the world shut down.
yeah, yeah. Because
And so then that was, yeah.
it was like the day before St. Patrick's Day or something, right? It was like the 18th or
Right.
19th that, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
right. I remember
it all
that.
just quieted. And we were in DC, so it was like pretty much strict lockdown overnight, went from people on the streets to no one anywhere. And
Right.
that lasted for months. Um, Kara and I had a rental house about 2 blocks from the NIH. So like when Trump got it, we saw the helicopter come in. Yeah, I mean, COVID was a very quiet neighborhood time, but it was cool because we ended up making friends with neighbors that played music. It kind of got the fire lit again, where I was like, let's do some shows. We had a front porch concert and it went really well with some friends from high school and the band that had the COVID show. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely a freaky time that made me evaluate. And I was like, man, I just got the fire lit under me.
Yeah.
What can I do to get this going? And then it was like, no, we're gonna stall for 2 more years. And so
Yeah.
then since then, yeah, I've been like, I'm very much if I can get there, if you want us on that stage, if we can, if the loss isn't too great, like we're saying yes,
Sure.
like to almost everything.
Right.
So
Um, Out of all the places, why Denver? Like if you're gonna move from Maryland, what was it about Denver or the scene in Denver that was so captivating that was like, yeah, this is it versus I've never been to Denver. I've been to Colorado a few times, but so I don't really know what the scene's like in Denver, but there's other places in the country that are known as having iconic scenes. So what was it about Denver?
it's the combo of everything, but yeah, it's a great question. We looked at Austin and Denver at the same time, but we had a
Okay.
1-year-old Australian Shepherd, and she's a little thick fur coat, so she's behind me.
Okay.
We're in the middle of moving between houses right now, so it's
Oh,
blurred out
okay.
behind me because
No, all good,
it's
all
chaos.
good. Congratulations on the move. I hope that's for a good thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we just bought our first house. We're excited,
Oh,
so
sick,
we're
sick. That's
yeah.
yeah, that's those are big boy circumstances. Like being a homeowner, man. I'm not,
Yeah.
but I'm okay with that. Like I don't want to deal with all that right now.
Yeah, it's all kind of happening. Kara was ready to she was feeling the impetus, so we found something.
Okay.
Um but yeah, so we had an Australian Shepherd. We looked at the music scene here. Her best friend from college was living here at the time. We already had like a good network out here. And I mean, it was really lucky. Like our friends out here are very connected to the music scene. There's a great cross section of rock, blues, jam, soul, funk, hip hop.
Right.
And we're both like I snowboard, she skis.
Okay.
It was just like the perfect fit. I did feel a strong connection to Austin, and I almost tried to get us to move there, but I'm pretty happy we came here. And yeah, there's a lot of great music towns, but I want to make music for a living, and Denver offers that. I'd love for our band that we've built out here, the Hip Snacks, to get going fully here. I never felt attracted to LA.
Mhm.
And I lived in New York for a year in college, and it's awesome. It was just too much. The pace wasn't for the three of us and the dog.
Yeah,
So
I mean, New York is exhausting. You know, like I haven't been back in a while, but I remember the last time I was there. The first time I was there, I absolutely loved it. Like, oh man, I want to move here, do the whole uh, thing. And then second time I was there, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll stay in LA. Like, I'll just go to New York to visit. Like, this is fine. The
yeah.
pace is exhausting, and yeah. Although I love the music that comes out of that city a lot, and that's the allure to that city for me. But the pace, I think, when I was younger, I would have tried to keep up with the pace, and that would have killed me. And now that I'm older, I'm too tired for it. So like it didn't, whatever.
I hear
But yeah,
that.
let's talk about your band, the Hip Snacks. I'm
Sure.
always interested in how band names come to fruition. There's usually a funny story behind why a band name ends up a band name. So tell me about the Hip Snacks and how the band name got decided on.
Absolutely. So I'd say everything's always multifactorial,
Yeah,
but we've been going to music festivals since 2008. I've always noticed that the bands that last the longest are the ones that you either are raging to or dancing to or both.
yeah,
And there's just like if you can get that experience to happen for the listener
that's
that
right. A
like
visceral
they
body response. Yeah.
exactly that they forget. So it's like if we can actually get your hips to have a snack.
Okay.
The less sexy answer is that I'm a personal trainer, and a lot of the times that we try to get clients to just like move in smaller batches to get them to move when they're starting out, and we call those movement snacks. And a
Okay.
lot of people will fix all their back pain. So I wish I had a funny story for you, but our origin is like combining. I'm sitting there one day and I'm like, man, we throw backyard parties. We're obsessed with food. We literally got our start. I have a Traeger. We throw 50 pounds of meat on the smoker. We tell
Nice.
whoever to come over. And all you have to do, like the only trade off is you have to listen to us play a few songs. And we did that for
Sick.
and
Um,
we'd be playing like widespread panic covers. So like all three of those came into the brainstorm. And I've always struggled to find a good band name. And this one just popped into my head. I texted a buddy and he was like, that's it. That's
okay.
it. You got your name.
We'll be back right after this.
All right, I got to take a little break here, folks. I got to tell you about this bass. It is the Woodshed bass, a vintage-inspired instrument with a modern voice. This bass is designed for players who care about feel, clarity, and musical contents. Stop by thebasshed.com, click on the tab. You can read all the specs. I got some sound things up there. This is a wonderful project and a wonderful bass that I was honored to be a part of help designing. And got to say, you never really know how it's going to come out. But the folks over at Woodcraft Guitars, right? The Bass Shed partnered with Woodcraft Guitars, and so really, really blown away by what these folks did. It's amazing. It's an amazing bass. Check it out at thebasshed.com. All right, another piece of gear, huh? More gear. We're just doing mid-roll gear. Yeah, we are. Because this piece of gear was an upgrade I didn't even know I needed. The Craft Geek Capsule Music Stand, right? The folks from Craft Geek hit me up. They're telling me about their stand. They're like, yo, can we send you one? And just give us your thoughts. I'm like, okay, fine. In the back of my mind, honestly, I'm like, what do we need to do? Why do we need to reinvent the music stand here? Well, fine, I'll check it out. Wow. Really thoughtful design, really sturdy, incredibly portable. Comes with a light, comes with a little bag, all kinds of accessories. I will have a video in the show notes. I did a little bit about it. It is a fantastic music stand, the Craft Geek Capsule Music Stand. Get yours today and use the promo code SHED15 to save 15%.
Excellent, sir.
You're in Denver. You're starting the Hip Snacks. How are you going about getting plugged into the scene and getting the right personnel for this project?
That's another thing that was great about the scene. So we already had a bunch of friends living here that were connected with as fans and friends with musicians in town. And we commit to moving. We call our friend Tara, and she says, "Great, I've got these two guys, Felipe and Dylan. You're going to meet them when you get out here. You'll have a band with them in no time." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." That's pretty specific.
Yeah, right.
Like 2 weeks after moving here, their project is drawing down, and they're looking for a new project. And I'm meeting them, and I'm like, "Yep, they're exactly the skill set I'm looking for." It took a little bit of wooing, but we were all working at the same church group, church band, on Sundays out here. It's like one of the great stable gigs in Denver. There's all sorts of church gigs that you can get.
Yeah,
They force you to learn like 4 new songs a week, plus
sure.
the required material from the church, and so that's a good skill developer. I meet Felipe and Dylan, one of our guitar players and our drummer, and woo them over a little bit and be like, "Hey, like I'm a bass player, but I'm starting a band. You guys will build around my wife, the singer, and have them over some dinners to get them locked in on the idea." And so that's kind of like where the name started. I'm always every rehearsal we're feeding them something from the smoker, or like, just like all the band meetings I try to feed if I can, just to make it a
Okay.
little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So we meet them, we go to the church rehearsal. My audition for the church, I meet Ricky. Ricky's our other guitar player, and he and I audition. I don't think I see him for like 4 or 5 months, and then I needed a second guitar player for that first gig we got booked because we were gonna do some Allman Brothers covers. And I called him up, and I just remembered I had a great chat with this guy. I don't even think I like saw him play in the audition. I was too worried about my audition, but I remember the conversation with him was so good. I knew he knew music. We hit it off immediately, and as soon as he came to a rehearsal, I knew he could play. So that's 5 out of 6. And then we started going to the open jams in Denver, which are just otherworldly talent. There was a place called Mile High Spirits that is, they do great bourbon. And we were there. Todd Smalley, the bassist for like Derek Trucks band, a couple other people, he was like the house bassist for that jam. And so we're there for a couple hours and we meet Adam through just one of the songs. I can't remember what he was playing, but the guy was ripping. He was also super nice. And I was just making my judgment call. I'm like, who can I get along with? Because we're starting this thing again, like starting a band again as strangers in our 30s. It's like, who do you want to like spend time with?
Right.
Like
Right.
that the criteria changes. So yeah, that's how we met. And then we had our first gig Memorial Day in 2023. And like I was telling you earlier, it went really well. And people were coming up to us right after and just being like, you guys should probably keep this going.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What's the writing process for developing material with the band?
Everybody writes, which is great. Kara, our singer, my wife, she writes a little bit, but I'd say everybody else writes. Like the thing that makes us a little bit unique is that for our first album, I brought like 7 of the 8 ideas, and then they all helped me develop them like crazy. For this album, I think everybody had a hand in writing at least a little bit of something. Um, and 3 or 4 songs are fully fleshed out ideas from different members. So we're kind of like evolving how we write, but the we call it like giving it the snacks treatment, where
Okay.
it's just like which you could also call a gauntlet. Like, it
Yeah.
has to, you write the demo. Normally we get it into a digital workstation before like Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton before the others hear it. A lot of, we're a 6-piece band, so getting everyone together is tough. So we do a lot of sharing
Yeah.
digitally, working in small groups. And then by the time we get to rehearsal, everyone's usually heard it, usually learned it, and ready to rock with like coming up with the improv sections. Or the snacks treatment is like, this course is cool, but let's do a double and then let's go to a bridge here instead. And like we're just
Right.
rearranging stuff on the fly. And where I think our band is so valuable is at that point, that's where like our drummer Dylan is excellent at coming up on the spot with great, like, what if live we do this? And what if this you do that? And like I'm pushing this here, but I'll pull back instead and you should try that. And so by the time it's on the record, all 6 people have changed it a bit.
Okay.
So I think that, yeah,
Yeah.
makes our process.
And now yourself coming from a hip hop background and the other members having their influences, how much of that is talked about in the writing process with like, I really want this to have kind of this feel, or I'm hearing it like this, and how are you negotiating kind of some of those things to make
That's
sure
a great
everybody's
question. It's like,
influence is represented?
yeah, I mean, I'm definitely biased where I like soul, I like groove, I like pocket stuff. Like Marcus Miller is my favorite bassist of bass. So like when I'm putting a
Okay.
song together, I'm definitely like, does it groove? Does
Yeah.
it have a feel? Can we get the people to dance to it? And our natural configuration of 6 people, of the 6 of us individuals, we lean kind of jam rock,
Yeah.
60s soul, for sure. So I'd say the influences are incorporated in that, like the way you asked it. Like I brought one of the singles to the table this writing process this time around, and we couldn't quite crack it. And then I just said, "What if you made it like a go-go feel, like DC rhythm?" And our drummer Dylan had lived in DC for a few years, and he went, "Oh!" And just like instantly, we had
But
we had the song.
okay.
So that happens a lot where I'm just like, maybe I can't articulate the stuff with enough of like musical verbiage that I would prefer to have, and I'll sound a little silly like getting it across. But it definitely we will. incorporate a lot of that. Felipe is classically trained. Ricky's been training and studying for years. Adams, I think, is at least like he went all the way through jazz band through like high school and early college. So like we have like a good ability to communicate our ideas with each other. Um, and yeah, I do think the influences come out a lot. Yeah. I think that's the first time that happened with the go-go thing where I was just like, try this, and the idea was there. A lot of times it's just like, here's the demo, and stay out of the way. Let the person,
Yeah, yeah.
let the instrument.
Now having a 6-piece band that creates specific room for each instrumentalist to shine. How do you treat that as a bass player playing in a group that's 6 people versus playing if it was a trio plus a singer? That gives you a lot more freedom. So how does that shape your bass line development?
I like to think of it that Adam describes our music as like seeing how well good musicians can make simple songs sound interesting and different, but stick like not deviate from the structure much. Like we don't play out that often,
Right.
but we do like to let each other shine. So we write a lot of structured stuff that live has space to stretch. And in that stretching as a bass player, I feel very fulfilled that if I get to do enough fills or like support the soloist, that's really my bread and butter. That's what I grew up doing. Like I got my start joining the jam sessions, supporting the improviser. So yeah, I mean, we really write like really tight songs for the most part. And then by the time we're stretching them out live, that's where I get to have some fun. I don't really take too many extended solos. I definitely am better for like 4 to 8 bars of just
Okay.
punchy stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I enjoy it the most. I'm glad that like I took up bass because I do enjoy it the most if myself and the soloist are trying to find somewhere new to go
Yeah.
together.
It's interesting though, from studying with Anthony Wellington, who is definitely a soloist as a bass player, and how long you've studied with him, that you don't pursue that kind of presence. That you
Well,
kind of I'm a big fan of bass players being bass players first. Like do the thing if you do the thing, with being out there in front, but put just as much time and attention, or if not more, into doing the job. That's my approach. There's a whole, and it happened with Jocko too. Like you take Jocko, and then there was all the post Jocko guys, and then there was Wooten, and then there was all the post Wooten. Like it's its own thing. And it's just so bass forward and soloist forward. But I think it's cool that you're not pursuing that you're pursuing supporting the songs and writing for a song, and only taking these shorter little moments to flourish instead of, working in some harmonic thing,
totally.
that has
Well, I
all the
think
pyrotechnics.
I do get, yeah, I mean, I'd say that what in what you said there, the word pursuing gets a lot of mileage because I'm pursuing being the proper bassist. I'm pursuing playing less notes for sure. I can be note heavy. I can play busy. You're always working to get better at that kind of stuff. But I
Sure.
just think our soloists are such monsters. Like I got 2 guitar players that can solo their butts off. They can do all the tapping. They can do all the pyrotechnics that you want to see. Adam, our keyboardist, can do everything. He plays organ, synth, piano. Sounds great. Um, yeah, I mean, I do like my moments, but I get more satisfaction after like nailing a sick thump and pluck groove
Right,
and
right.
like hitting a fill that
Yeah.
like incorporates all that. Because that was like that felt unattainable for a while for me, and I was like seeking out teachers to learn it right. And I'd be at music festivals, being like going up to the guy that was really good at slapping or thump, and be like,
Yeah.
"How'd you do that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, listen, I'm just trying to enjoy my night. Stop asking me
Yeah.
questions
Yeah. Yeah.
about thumb
Right. Right.
placement.
Right. Let's
So,
talk about sound. So,
sure.
what is your rig? Like, what's your signal chain, your bass, if you use effects, and your amp situation, head and cab, and then how did that
Mhm.
change? What's your signal change in the studio? So, what's your signal chain live, and what's your signal chain in the studio?
Yeah, so I play a Federa 5-string Emperor, which is
Hmm.
pretty sick, and I
Sure.
got it designed custom in during the first couple of weeks of the pandemic, actually,
Is
because
that
like
a
you said,
single
you're
cut
like,
like Anthony's?
no, it's a
Okay.
bolt-on, it's three piece, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've gotten to hold his a few times and play it a few times in some in-person lessons, but um, yeah, he's got like 9 of them, man, and they're
Sure.
all sick and different.
Yeah, he's a six string
Um,
player too, primarily, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, correct. Yeah, yeah. But he'll show you. He teaches your lesson whatever you're playing that
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
So 4 through
That's
7. Yeah.
sure. 7. All right.
um, yeah. um, yeah. So I've got the Federa Emperor. It's got the Duncan dual coil pickups. I play clean a lot, but I do have the Cali 76 compressor.
Mhm.
Um, I have the bass, the Crybaby bass wah. My uh like I said, I do play clean a lot. I like to dabble with a bit of my MXR envelope filter. The guys get pretty effecty, so I don't have to too much.
Okay.
Um, so my head is an Aguilar AG 700. So it's just like that really, it's just like true, exactly like my bass sounds is what I hear coming out.
Right.
Oddly enough, I have a Mark bass cab, but that was from a purchase like 8 years ago, 10 years ago now, when I was
Why do you say
switching
oddly
from
enough?
lugging.
Because it's not also an Aguilar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
I mix and match brands all over the place. I don't think I have any two things that are the same.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I just never got around to switching it, and it's works for me. And I love the Mark cab. It's just like a feather. It's easy to
Yeah.
travel with. Um, so I have the Sans amp preamp on my board for when we're traveling or when I was playing those church gigs and stuff like that. But yeah, my preferred rig is almost always the Mark bass right behind me with the Aguilar and just like pretty close to 12 o'clock on everything.
Okay.
I roll off just a tiny bit of mid on the bass itself. But almost everything else I leave. Yeah, I mean, that
And
thing
now
sounds.
how do you negotiate working a hi-fi boutique bass into a sound that is a little bit more throwback, where you could
Mhm.
easily play a jazz or a P with flats, and that would also work
Oh, totally.
for that kind of
Um,
for the genre and to kind of get the what you guys are doing sonically. So how do you make sure that the Federa, with the boutique woods and everything's dialed in so pristine, so that it doesn't have that kind of boutique hi-fi sizzle and it messes up a blend?
I mean, it can a little. I can roll off the tone a little and get a little bit more of that kind of jazz tone that you're talking about. But like honestly, we have a pretty big, thick sound. And when I want that boutique sound to cut through, like when I go to the neck pickup and I'm playing chords in a couple of our intros, I
Mm.
want that to shine through.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and when I'm not, I'm doing a lot of left hand. I'm doing a lot of right hand, like thumb. I'm doing a lot of palm muting. I'm just like,
Okay. A lot
I'm
of
keeping
dampening,
that
yeah.
tone under control. Yeah, I'm doing a lot with my own hands. I do like a pretty like, I have all my pickups on like the active, pretty high, punchy sound. It's kind of just in your face, but that's just
Yeah, okay.
how I dig. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the recordings. How you have one out, correct? And you
We have
another
one album
one's
out.
the other one's coming out.
Yeah, the new album's coming out April
Yeah.
24th. We just posted it. We just announced it last Friday, and the first song came out last Friday. It's called
Mhm.
Desert Love.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So what
that
can
one's fun.
oh, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, no, you're good. No,
Okay.
it was fun.
What has been the sound evolution between the two recordings? And so if someone was checking out the first record, can they expect something similar? And what can they look forward to that might be new?
Good question. So, for both of the first and second album, we recorded at Colorado Sound Studios in Westminster here in Colorado near Denver. And they have a Neve console that just sounds like
Sure.
butter
Of
every
course.
it just as good as it can be.
Right.
A lot of great bands have recorded here. Lettuce just did their album here, I think.
Okay.
D'Angelo did a lot of his Voodoo record there. Um, so state of the art recording facility with a producer, Steve Avidis, who's just been doing it for 40 years. We worked with him for both records. So I'd say the difference between sounds is probably just we definitely layered more. We triggered the drums a little bit more on the second record. I probably played a few less effects on the total record. Yeah, it's like a lot of just like true capturing the signal from the Aguilar head. We didn't like mic up the cab or anything. It was just DI. Um,
Is it a multi-track record or was it everybody live playing together?
we did, we did so for both records we did like live scratch tracks and then we went back and did a little bit of overdubs.
Mhm.
On the first record, we produced it's like we sort of called it like we produced it ourselves. Like we finished recording our demos and writing everything and practicing it with 2 months to spare, and then we spent 2 months in there in my basement just getting everything ready, redoing the
Yeah,
arrangement, everything to the point where by the time we tracked it, we did 8 songs in 3 days. For the
amazing.
second record, it was killer. It was really awesome. Second record was a little different because I was pushing us on a faster timeline. I see how bands these days need to like keep moving forward to not stagnate, and I had like the that fire lit under me where I was like, let's get our second record out. And we had like 4 songs written, a goal of doing 10 in the studio, and we wrote in about a month, worked on them for another month and a half, and then we went into the studio with just a little bit less of that like producer time. So the reason I'm saying all this is that we tracked over 3 days in April. Then we did a ton of gigs, got better at the songs, went back in May for 3 days, went back in June for 3 days, went back in August. And every time we went back in, we added a little bit more. And so I
Sure.
would say the album's, yeah, it's definitely a little bit more produced, but it's not too high on production. Like we're trying to still sound like a band. We want to give the second album is definitely more broad ranging in genre. First album, I was kind of steering us towards classic rock sounding stuff with a little bit of soul, but like there's also a funk song on there where I'm double thumping the whole time.
Okay.
um, yeah, I don't know. I know it's hard to stick to a genre. It's hard to care about sticking to a genre for me. I just like I'm influenced by so many bands
Sure.
that if you come to our live show, you'll see that we are pretty far ranging. So yeah, there's more drum triggers. There's a lot more vocal harmonies on album two. More of the
Mhm.
guys started singing backgrounds.
Do you feel like
The
this new album is a better representation for like the band finding its sound, like it's settled into more of a personality and a unique identity with this record?
Yeah, absolutely. Because even though we're kind of reaching like pretty far in multiple directions, with everyone getting more of a voice on the recording and writing side of things, it just ends up sounding like the blend of what we are most like, which I think is a 2026 modern-ish sound with a lot of older influences. So on our first record, we have a song called New Groove, and that probably was the best reflection of what the six of us sound like.
Hmm.
Um, and on this record, Desert Love does that really well. But yeah, I would say the second record is really like we had our first national tour together. We spent 30 days in the van together. We came away from that wanting to be around each other more, which is not always that common. So then
No,
to
no,
then
no,
right.
no. I'll
So,
do fly dates on a weekend and then I'm done with them. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So to like go finish the record with the high we were feeling, because we finished that tour at a festival called Floyd Fest, which is like the coolest festival. They're just so into the music there.
Mhm.
They are coming up to you and telling you, I liked what you did on this part of song three. Like
Oh
they're
wow.
really dedicated. And
Yeah.
um, so we went back and finished the record like a couple weeks later. And so yeah, I think it does sound like us the most now.
Cool.
Yeah.
And when does what's the title of the record and when is the official release date?
So the album's called Out on a Limb because
Mhm.
it's all about our singer Kara kind of deciding to become a singer because
Okay.
she started also kind of late in life, and it's out April 24th.
Okay. Well, now this is kind of a I mean, you just spoke about it being her narrative, so to speak, but this also kind of touches on both of you together as you're married and like going out on a limb and making the move to Denver and starting the process all over again. I mean, I feel like that that whole concept hits on a couple levels, now going out on a limb and being a homeowner. You're going out on
Absolutely.
another limb. Yeah. So
All of
it
them.
seems like there's probably a lot of personal depth that is being communicated in this record.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of life stuff has happened since the first record came out. Karen and I got married since it came out. We were just like the song "Isn't That Proof" is about waiting 10 years to propose on the first
Mm,
record, and I
okay.
wrote it about her getting fed up with waiting. So yeah,
Okay.
we really do talk about our lives a lot, and yeah, there's a lot of going out on a limb. Adam got engaged, Ricky got engaged. His our one of the singles is kind of his story about his falling in love with his lady Claudia, and yeah, it's definitely everyone's contributing, and there's definitely a lot of going out on those limbs. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Cool. And the new record will be out on all the platforms.
It'll be out everywhere, and we're working on getting some vinyl and CDs pressed, and it'll be Spotify, Apple, Tidal, you name it. We'll have it on YouTube. We'll have it on everything. Bandcamp for sure, of course. They're
Cool.
the they're the
Then as
homies.
far as tour dates, are you guys looking to hit the road with do some tour dates?
We haven't been able to announce it yet, but we're working on some dates right now. We've confirmed April 29th in Columbus at Woodlands Tavern. We're May 2nd at the Bitter End in New York City and May 9th in Charleston. And we're filling out all those towns in between. So if anyone's here listening, look out for us on the road. We'll be anywhere between Ohio and Charleston.
Yeah, you're all over the place. Killer, man. Looking forward to checking out that record. Ben, thanks so much for being on.
Ryan, thank you for having me on the podcast.
All right, all right, all right. That was my talk with Ben Suarez of the Hip Snacks. Really excited to check out their new album. Very cool conversation, and very, very interesting story, right? Coming from being a rapper. I wish I had that skill set. I really do. I wish I could freestyle, right? I don't, or haven't, or plan on ever being in a rap battle, but I'd like to. I'd like to be in a rap battle, and I'd also like to know how to break dance. Like those two things, that would be cool. The thought of breakdancing right now, automatically, I feel like I get sciatica just thinking about it. But that would be hip to breakdance. Thanks a lot, Ben, for being on the podcast. And check out the Hip Snacks. Links to all of their stuff all over the internet will be in the show notes below. It's a very cool band, and watch out for them on the road coming to a city near you. All right, folks, that's about all I got for this one. Please make sure to hit subscribe wherever you are listening to the show, and I will catch you on the next one in a minute.